All right, let's get right into it. In a world that is just absolutely flooded with content, how do you actually make a real impact? Do you have to be the loudest voice in the room, basically screaming for attention? Or can you make an even bigger statement by being the quietest? That's the battle we're going to explore today. So on one hand, you've got this, just a wall of color, of energy, and information, all of it designed to grab you in a split second. But if you look a little closer, you realize the endgame isn't just about making noise. Nope, it's about something way deeper, what this source actually calls the authenticity advantage. And we are going to unpack both sides of that coin. And then you have the total opposite. This quote from our second source, it just perfectly captures the other strategy, minimalism. It's not about adding more stuff. It's about taking things away and away until only the most essential, powerful feeling is left. It is a really fascinating contrast, right? Okay, so let's start with the loud. This is what we're calling the maximalist playbook. It's a strategy that's built on a pretty simple premise. You capture attention by cranking up the volume, both literally and visually. The whole idea is to be completely undeniable. And listen, this isn't just random guesswork. These are actual, explicit rules pulled directly from a guide on how to create viral YouTube content. The entire goal is to maximize the potential for someone to click, all through high-contrast design. And you can see the core principles, right? No plain white backgrounds, subjects have to be dynamic, and use that big 3D text that's just designed to scream excitement. And here's a perfect example of how those rules come to life. Just look at this BTS infographic. The colors are electric, the whole layout feels fluid and open, and the text just pops right off the screen. It's all designed to feel professional, totally polished, and, most importantly, exciting. So does it actually work? Well, the numbers kind of speak for themselves. This one single live stream event, promoted with this exact visual style, pulled in 18.4 million viewers. To put that in perspective, that's more than the Grammys got that year. So the takeaway here is crucial. The maximalist strategy has a massive proven reach. But what happens if you do the exact opposite? Well, that brings us to the minimalist rebellion, a strategy that argues you can get just as much attention, maybe even more, through quiet, deliberate restraint. So for this, we're going to look at a fictional 2026 track from Bruno Mars called Nothing Left. The analysis of this song presents it as this radical departure, a total masterclass in using empty space, in wielding the power of saying less, in a world that is just getting noisier and noisier. Let's dig into the mechanics for a second. The absolute core of this song's sound is a felt-dampened piano. Now, this isn't just a quiet piano. It's a very specific technical choice to create a sound that feels softer, more personal, maybe even a little fragile. The whole point is that you're meant to hear the mechanics of it, the very breath of the instrument itself. And the tempo? A glacial 62 beats per minute. The source material actually describes the backbeat as being intentionally delayed, which makes the song feel like it's, and I quote, struggling to stay awake. So this isn't just slow, it's a deliberate, powerful lack of energy. And all that technical stuff directly translates into an emotional feeling. This quote just nails it. The slow tempo, that muffled piano, it all comes together to create a specific feeling. It literally turns the concept of exhaustion into a compelling piece of art. So you're probably thinking, a quiet, exhausting song couldn't possibly go viral, right? Wrong. The hashtag #NothingLeft challenge on TikTok, where people would film themselves in these quiet, empty spaces, racked up a staggering 5.8 billion views. This proves that minimalism isn't just some artsy choice. It can be a massively successful commercial strategy. Okay, so we have two completely opposite strategies, right? And they're both achieving these incredible levels of success. So what in the world is going on here? Well, this brings us to the most important part of this whole analysis, their shared goal. On the surface, they could not be more different. One gets attention through overwhelming volume, the other through profound restraint. It's the wall of sound versus a deafening silence. But what are they both really trying to do? Let's jump back to our maximalist source for a second. Right there, in the middle of all that color and all that energy is the key phrase, the authenticity advantage. It argues that it's human storytelling, not just the flashy visuals, that remains the true gold standard. So what did the critics say about our minimalist example? They praised its unproduced authenticity. It's the exact same word, the same core idea, just reached by taking a totally different path. It's seen as real and genuine in a world that's getting more and more saturated with artificial content. And here it is, This is the big aha moment, laid out right in front of us. Both of these strategies are obsessed with authenticity. Our maximalist source says it explicitly. Authenticity cannot be replaced, and that human connection is something software cannot code. And at the same time, the minimalist track is celebrated as a direct reaction against the AI-generated sheen of modern pop. So the huge takeaway is that loud and quiet are just different tools in the exact same search for something genuine. So what does all of this mean for the future of content? And what should we really be taking away from this whole thing? Let's bring it all home. At the end of the day, this is the core insight. These aren't just two competing styles. They're two valid, powerful paths to the exact same destination. Whether it's the shared energy of a huge, vibrant performance or the intimate vulnerability of a quiet confession, the ultimate goal is just to create a connection that feels real. And that leaves us with a final question to think about. As our world gets noisier and frankly more automated, what are we, the audience, going to value more? Is it going to be the artist who can shout above the crowd, or the one who can make us lean in close to hear a true whisper? The answer to that is probably going to define the next era of creativity.